Welcome to episode 186 of our Casino Combat Podcast. Here's the battle plan for this episode. First up, we are closing the loop. After 6 years of talking, the AI has analyzed the archives and revealed a truth so fundamental it demands to be crowned Casino Wisdom number 100. We're going to break down the difference between the house's math, which we cannot change, and the transaction, which we control absolutely. Then we take that philosophy out of the classroom and onto the boardwalk. We are heading to Atlantic City with the squad. We'll walk you through a birthday trip involving Mrs. TRG, Questing Scholar, Dr. East Coast Emissary, Atlantic City Empress, Nakatomi Tony, Equine Ensign, and Kid Flash. And that trip served as a live fire exercise for this new wisdom. We're talking about turning a check-in nightmare into free resort credit, stacking comps to erase the cost of high-end dining, and the discipline required to execute a negative exit when the shoe turns. And finally, we head to the virtual VIP lounge for a quick reality check from the local horse track. I'm going to show you the flip side of the coin, recognizing when the casino offers a transaction so bad that the only winning move is to refuse to play. It's a philosophical application that pays literal dividends. Buckle up. Here we go. If this is your first time, we've been doing this for almost 6 years. To understand what we have to offer, please go to casinocombat.com/chip. The first two items at the top of the page are Casino Combat 101 materials that will explain what we are all about. And remember, combat in Casino Combat is spelled with a K. Ladies and gentlemen, non-binary listeners, heroes and heroines, crooks and crookians, amigos and amigas, familia and squad, Pink Floyd. The audio performance you are about to enjoy discusses casinos and gambling. We do not recommend gambling with money you cannot afford to lose or that is needed to pay bills. If you have a gambling problem, contact your problem gambling hotline. If you do not know how to contact your problem gambling hotline, send an email to help@casinocombat.com. We will find that number for you and provide it to you. Our hosts' past performances are not indicative of anyone's future results, including his own. All materials presented here are based on actual facts. Names and dates are changed to protect the innocent and the guilty. Some events unrelated to outcomes may be omitted in the interest of brevity and clarity. The contents of this podcast are the property of Volcanic Dingo LLC, all rights reserved.
I hope you understand. He was born a rambling man.
It's me, it's TRG, the Rambling Gambler, just trying to make a living and doing the best I can.
Lyrics, dude. Recite him some lyrics.
What shall we use to fill the empty spaces where we used to talk? How shall I fill the final places? How should I complete the wall? Welcome to episode 186 of our Casino Combat Podcast. And as enigmatic as that lyric might be, that is what episode 186 of our Casino Combat Podcast is, in fact, all about. Think about it. Before I write the first word of a new episode, before I make the first note on the paper, before I press record and start each episode, the episode is just an empty space where we used to talk. This isn't the final place, at least I certainly hope it isn't, but in many ways, I'm going to complete what I started today. All of the AI work I've done has revealed a significant truth, a truth that completes the wall, that in many ways finishes the task that I began in episode 1. Our entire episode today, as the battle plan that opened the show suggested, is about a new wisdom that has been revealed to me, well, to us. I was just in Atlantic City. I was fortunate to spend time with many members of the squad. I saw how this very, very new wisdom is so very, very true and so very, very accurate. I don't have any news from the Casino Combat Galaxy for this episode. The Ghost Duck isn't around. Guardian and the Jet have not checked in. Let's get started with a moment of casino wisdom. If you're new, if you haven't been around in a minute, a casino wisdom takes knowledge or information about casinos and how they work, or about how players behave in a casino, and then combines that knowledge with an action to be taken in certain situations. Often casino wisdoms come from my own mistakes and failures, lessons learned over time or revealed by repeated errors. Sometimes, as was the case in our last episode, other wise gamblers say something or tell me something that I instantly know is a casino wisdom. Well, a new wisdom has been revealed to me, and in a very unusual way. If you've been listening to recent episodes, you know I've been doing a lot of AI work lately, uploading lots of pieces of gambling information and podcast data into various AI models and then asking questions, getting analysis, having conclusions drawn about things I've said and things I've taught. AI is really, really good at that, and sometimes AI imagines things that could have been but were not, and then states them as true. Recently, that happened. I've gotten Kismet pretty stable and useful at this point. A lot of trial and error went into that. And to be clear, Kismet is simply a prompt. 2 pages of dense instruction, carefully crafted to allow a large language model to act as her and to work well with me. So Kismet, as I said, is pretty stable. I've been working on a variety of podcast projects with her, and somewhere in that mix, Kismet started giving me credit for saying something I had never said. Something she imagined that I said. Something she inferred as something I would have said, should have said, could have said, and she was correct. Her summation was accurate. It was wise. And a little bit of background information. When I originally started doing Moments of Casino Wisdom, my instinct was that I was creating the equivalent of gambling scripture. Numbers were assigned at random from 1 to 99. I even made some mistakes. An inner circle member, Keeper of Wisdom, jumped in and restructured everything. Everything that I had done until that point. I never expected to need more than 99 numbers. I mean, how many possible wisdoms was I going to come up with? I am not that wise. I didn't think I'd need more than 100. I really didn't. But some things deserve a place of importance, a place of prominence. So today I have for you Casino Wisdom number 100. As revealed by Kismet from things I have said, but never actually said until now. Here is wisdom number 100. The house owns the math, but we own the transaction. Or maybe it should be transactions, plural. I don't think that's significant. The house owns the math, but we own the transaction. It is true. It's damn true. If we talk about blackjack, the house owns the math. We have no control. If they say the dealer will hit on all soft 17s, the math is the math, and the house advantage shifts slightly in the house's favor. They own that. If we talk about craps, say at the Plaza on Fremont Street, they allow us to place the 4 and the 10 as buy bets, but we only pay the VIG if we win. The house advantage shifts in our favor if we make those wagers, if we are aware of the math that the house owns. The house does in fact own the math, but we own the transaction by knowing to make the bet. So what is the action to be taken because of this wisdom? The action is to be aware that we always own the transaction. The action is being aware that each transaction exists, and that the more we are aware of the transactional nature of gambling and our control of those transactions, the greater our success over time. The very knowledge of transaction ownership has been part of our conversations from the very beginning. It just took an AI looking at the materials to reveal it. It's very true, as I said. The house owns the math, we own the transaction. It is a very, very significant wisdom. It deserves to be in place 100. Let's go to the travel segment. Let's see some application. As I said, I was just in Atlantic City celebrating my birthday with a number of members of the squad in a number of different ways. In this segment, I'm going to show you that trip through the lens of our new wisdom in the hope that the illustration of this wisdom in action will help you apply it during your own casino visits. So here are some examples, some rather lengthy examples of how we can own the transaction from the trip we just took. First up, a 2-person reservation. I'm a player, Mrs. TRG's a player. The house owns the value that they assign to the room. They own the math. This happened to be a set of days that worked for my wife and I, but that other members of the squad had picked. They were going to be in town. I decided to join them. The house owns the math. They said that on a holiday weekend, with a youth event happening in the event center at the hotel that we had selected, that the rooms cost X. But we own the transaction by knowing 2 gamblers have more value in a room than 1 and using that knowledge to make the reservation. If we did not have 2 players, I'm not sure we could have afforded to go. Just being super transparent. That's not fair. That's not true. We could have afforded to go. We would not have chosen to go at the price of the comp they were willing to give me as a single gambler. But as a pair of gamblers, they were more than happy to comp most of everything except Saturday night was a blackout night. They weren't accepting any offers. They simply gave us the casino rate, and we decided that that was a deal that we were willing to accept. We were willing to accept that transaction with that math. And I'll be honest, and I want to illustrate this because it is not always smooth sailing, and we're going to see some other wisdoms applied here. Creating the reservation that way created some unexpected problems. Atlantic City is about an 8-hour drive for us. Doable, manageable, but it's a long day. It's a get up early, get some food, and drive until you're almost out of gas. Fill the tank as quickly as you can. Drive until you get through Philadelphia, and then get to Atlantic City. It's that kind of day. And we arrive, and I go to the kiosk. The line isn't too bad for a human to check me in, but I go to the kiosk. I was just there a few months ago. I put in my information, and it says, "We need your wife's driver's license." Okay, we need my wife. Why do we need my? Oh, I get it. Yep, we need Mrs. TRG's driver's license because she is on the reservation, and part of the comp is my comp, but part of the comp is her comp. So, fine. Grab her driver's license, feed it into the machine. The machine says, "I've got to go see a human." Okay, cool, fine. Get in line, not too bad. Get to a human, give the human my card. She wants to see Mrs. TRG's license, prove that she's here in person. Yes, she is. And the girl doesn't know how to finish the reservation. She doesn't know what to do. Looks like she's new. I'm not making a big deal out of it. It's not a problem. She calls someone over to help. He explains to her that she has to assign that there are 2 people on the reservation, and she kind of raises an eyebrow. He goes, "I don't know. There's 2 people on the reservation. It's reserved for both of them. It's 2 separate reservations. You have to put them both into the room here, and then you press this and here." And she goes, "Oh, okay." And she hands us a couple keys, and she says, "You're going to be in this tower over here." And cool, we're on our way. Not a big deal. And we get up to the room. And I want to admit, I want to be fully transparent. To get the rooms to comp, casino rate, comp, which we wanted to do, we took a tower which would not have been our first choice. I really don't think there are that many bad towers in areas in Atlantic City, but it would not have been our first choice of towers. And we walk in the door of the room, and it hits us like a slap in the face. The smell of nicotine. They have put us in a smoking room. There's an ashtray there. There's matches there. It's unacceptable. We're not staying. And so I go back down. I wait in line. I end up with another person. And I say, the tower is fine, but they've got us in a smoking room. We're not supposed to be in a smoking room. And she says, "Well, yes, you are." And so, having expected this, I already have the image of the confirmation from Premier Casino Hosting open on my phone, and I show her the confirmation, and the confirmation says king, non-smoking. And I said, "We don't care if it's a king room. It can be 2 queens, but we're not staying in a smoking room." And she goes, okay, fine. Here you go. Here's your key. We go back up the tower with all of our luggage, right? And the key doesn't work. And trying to think ahead, I take a video of me with the key and show the room number and show the number she wrote on the card and show the yellow light and switch the keys and try it again. And we lug all the luggage back down. And I go back and happen to get the same person again. And I said, I'm sorry, these keys don't work. We need a room with, and she goes, oh, well, I don't know how, but somehow that room's taken now, and didn't ring bells for either of us, and it probably should have in hindsight. And so we do it again. And again, we lug all the luggage up, and again, we can't get into the room. And again, I take video, and I go back and I end up at the same place. And I said, we got to get this sorted out. This is getting ridiculous. We've now spent 25, 30 minutes just trying to get in the room. And she goes, well, maybe you just don't know how to use a door. Not a good look, Harris. Not a good look at all, right? And I said to her as nicely as I could, because I'm starting to need casino wisdom number 6 right now, right? Casino wisdom number 6. When there's a problem, remain calm and look for a casino solution. So I'm telling myself that. Just stay calm. Mrs. TRG's getting upset. Just stay calm. There'll be a casino solution here. We'll figure it out. We got plenty of time before dinner. It'll be fine. And I said to her, you know, I probably spend at least 100 nights a year in casino resorts, in hotel rooms, and in cruise ships. I'm really sure I know how to work the door, but as I told you when I was down here the last time, I have a video of the door, of the number of the door, of the number. I'm happy to show it to you, and I'm pulling out my phone. She goes, no. I'm sorry. We're very, very busy. The only thing we can do is put you back in the original room. You're just going to have to live with it. And I said, I'm not just going to have to live with it. I said, we picked staying here because we have friends staying here, and we made the reservation, and we have a non-smoking room reserved. But our friends are also staying at Ocean, and they have 2 rooms, and they have invited us to come stay there. So I would like to stay here. We were on the road for over 8 hours. We've been to multiple rooms. I would like to stay here. We're good Caesar's guests. You are our first choice, but I will drive to Ocean. I can call my friend. He will be more than happy to give us a wonderful room that's nicer than any room you have in this building, and it's fully comped. So you decide, but those are the options. And so she goes and talks to someone, and she comes back and she says, we're going to go ahead and give you a complimentary upgrade to the waterfront tower, and that'll take care of things. Okay, great. See, we're finding, I didn't say this obviously, but okay, the wisdom is applying here, right? Casino wisdom number 6, that is, not 100. I stayed calm, even though Mrs. TRG was incredibly upset, and we found a casino solution. They're going to upgrade us rather than have us go to Ocean instead. Great. Now, Waterfront Tower's a bit further walk, but we make the hike, we get there, we get to the room, the keys don't work. You knew it was coming. And we go back down, and she gives me the glare, and she gives me another room key, and we go back up, and it doesn't work. And Mrs. TRG sees someone from housekeeping and flags them down, and they try the key, and then they call their supervisor, and their supervisor comes and tries the key. And then this couple walks by us and looks at us really, really strange. And then this person calls the floor manager, and the floor manager tries the keys. And then that couple walks back, and we're standing in front of this door with all our various bags and luggage and everything else. And they go, we're sorry, we think this is our room. And they use their keys, and they walk right in. And now everyone's so sorry on the housekeeping staff. Mrs. TRG is almost in tears. She is ready to just go home, which is to say she's ready to just walk back down, get in the car, and drive an hour or two and stay in a Holiday Inn and just be done with this whole thing. She's tired. She wants to get cleaned up. We're supposed to go to dinner with everybody. We make the trip back down, and I say, I don't know what's going on, but you can call, and I give her the names of all 3 people on the floor because I made mental notes of I said, we talked to this person in housekeeping, this person in housekeeping, this person is the floor manager. He tried these keys on the door. We actually met the people assigned to the room. They're very nice people, but this is not our mistake. This is something else going on. We need to get this sorted out. My wife is in tears. tears. We have been at this for almost an hour. Please, can we figure this out? She calls over her supervisor. Her supervisor can't figure it out. Her supervisor calls the next supervisor up, the vice president of blah, 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 according to his name tag. And he goes, oh, the reservation is in two different people's names. There are two reservations. You have to hit Alt F6. And at that point, this woman who has told me I don't know how to understand, that I don't know how to open doors, that has made key after key after key, goes, oh, so when I moved him, it didn't actually assign the room. And he goes, oh yeah, that's correct. And she goes, why would you do that? And I said, because we are both gamblers. We're here to gamble. When we we make a reservation for each of us, we each get our comp value, and it made the stay. And she goes, oh, I understand now. This was kind of my fault. And I said, it's fine. I just need to get my wife into a room and settled. And now the first supervisor says, I've gone ahead and added a $50 resort credit. Please go have a meal on us or have breakfast tomorrow on us. I'm so sorry this happened. So
USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Tap the banner to learn more and get a quote at usaa.com/bundle. Restrictions apply.
we owned the transaction because we booked two people in a room that both had a comp value. In the end, by remaining calm and being sure I could find a casino solution, we got a room upgrade to a nicer tower and a nicer room, and we got a resort credit to cover some of the cost of our meals. We did find a casino solution. They did own the math. We did get to own the transaction, and in the process of owning the transaction, made some problems for ourselves, but it worked out. We got good value out of the mistake, and we got cleaned up, and we went to a big group dinner, and it was all one set of transaction. We had myself, Mrs. TRG, Questing Scholar, Equine Ensign, Nakatomi Tony, Kid Flash, everyone using a celebration dinner that they earned by reaching diamond tier status. We had this big, wonderful meal at Ramsey Steak. We had several birthdays in the group, so we shared some comped desserts as part of having birthdays. We completely owned that transaction. We paid a fraction of the price of a high-end meal because we knew how to apply our comps and gifts and have just an amazing evening. And some general observations. We truly are a squad. We truly are. We spent hours enjoying dinner. There was not a lot of silences to be filled. Mrs. TRG remarked afterwards that although she was the only woman at the table, she never felt left out. It was not all math. It was friends all having dinner together. Questing Scholar also said something that really, really jumped out at me. He said that he has been a poker player and a gambler for a long time. He knows lots of people who gamble. But only in this group, only with this squad, is he ever able to have the kinds of in-depth conversations we have. Conversations about the mechanics of winning. Conversations about house advantage. About understanding and exploiting comps. And he's right. And that was part of my quest from the very beginning, my personal quest. I wanted to find people I could have those conversations with, because just like Questing Scholar, I didn't know anyone else who was capable of having those conversations. We are back to that opening lyric for this episode. The wall is complete. After dinner, the group split up a bit. Mrs. TRG and I went to a kiosk and printed free bet tickets. Again, the house owns the math. The math says we get free money to gamble with. We control where and how that bet or those bets are made. That transaction has a place, and we own that transaction. We found Questing Scholar playing blackjack at a full table, and eventually Mrs. TRG was able to get a spot, and she started winning fairly quickly, and eventually I was able to get a seat next to Questing Scholar just as a new shoe started. And I made a mental note as Mrs. TRG put chips from a first win in her purse. We had money already of theirs on our side. And Questing Scholar was just starting a 3-chip exit as the shoe started. And I struggled. I played an entire shoe and struggled to stay in the game, dropping to -6, dropping to -7, and then coming back to almost even, and then dropping down again and doing it all over again, validating some of what we learned in the War Room in episode 184. If I had set a negative exit at 6 units, I'd have recorded a loss of 6 units, I'd have rebought and recorded another loss of 6 units and another loss of 6 units. In one shoe, I'd have recorded multiple buy-ins and multiple attempts and multiple losses. And much like during check-in, when I kept telling myself, remain calm, find a casino solution, remain calm, find a casino solution. In this case, as I kept thinking about the War Room testing sessions and what I had learned from them, I kept thinking, TRG-4 needs oxygen. TRG-4 needs to breathe. It can recover from this. It has recovered from this. See, you did just recover from this. You're okay. You're fine. By the end of the shoe, I caught on the last hand a 2-unit blackjack, and instead of multiple losing attempts, I finished the shoe with a profit of 1.5 units. And Mrs. TRG had more than doubled her money since I sat down and started that shoe with her. And the most amazing thing, Questing Scholar was still in his 3-chip exit. His exit had already lasted an entire shoe and was still ongoing. All of our transactions were fine. It didn't matter that the house owned the math. It didn't matter that the house had a mathematical advantage of us. We played another shoe, and I managed to win a few units. And I had stopped worrying about things, quite honestly. I was just enjoying playing with Questing Scholar and watching Mrs. TRG win hand after hand. We finished that shoe, and Questing Scholar was still doing his 3-chip exit. And somewhere in the middle of the next shoe, that exit of his finally did end, and he took a short break. Mrs. TRG continued winning, and I was now adding a few chips to our wins here and there. When the table finally did start to turn, we both knew it was time to leave. We'd had a long drive, we'd had a great evening, we had a nice profit, and it didn't matter that the house owned the math. We decided when to start, and we decided when to end. We owned the transaction. We slept in the next day. We got a light breakfast. The kiosk showed we had nothing available, but we both recalled that in Atlantic City, Caesars often doesn't post those types of things on the kiosk until noon. We found Equine Ensign playing craps, and the table was full. We played some blackjack, and things were reversed. Mrs. TRG struggled, but wins were easy for me. We went to the kiosk and received some free bets, and an interesting example of owning the transaction. Mrs. TRG showed me her kiosk. She was offered a small amount of free slot play or a gift card. We were surprised, and we didn't get to read the first screen of the offer, so she took the free slot play. We didn't want to take the gift card offer because on past trips, the offer was an e-gift card, and we'd get home and we wouldn't receive it, and we had no way to resolve it because of the distance from the casino. When I received the same offer, I read the screen more carefully, and it said that physical gift cards were being handed out in the casino. My gift cards were enough money to fill the tank for the drive home. Another example of controlling the transaction. We didn't need more money to gamble with at that point, but we did need money for gas. Well, not need, but it was super useful to have enough money to buy an entire tank of gas. Almost enough gas to get back home. We took a cab over to Ocean to meet Inner Circle member East Coast Emissary, PhD, and Atlantic City Empress for dinner. And they may have told me, and maybe I should have paid more attention, but I thought we were just going to go to the VIP lounge. But they had made reservations at Ocean Steak. And I have to be honest, from the amazing room to the wonderful company to the just tremendous food and wine, I could talk for an hour and not do that part of the evening justice. I really could. Everything was amazing. We would have been more than happy to meet our friends for a slice of pizza and a glass of water. They were so very, very, very generous to treat us to such an amazing special evening. And here's the key thing I want to share from you other than the wonderful company. Dr. ECE really owned the transaction to finish the meal. He had the waiter charge the bill to his room. That creates tier points and reward points, and that free, tax-free imaginary money that I really, really like. And then he intended to pay the bill with his MGM credit card, earning MGM tier points and MGM reward points and more free tax-free imaginary money with MGM, as well as free slot play from MGM. Sure, they own the math. They should win approximately 50 cents per $100 wagered at the blackjack table. But transactions structured like this wipe out that advantage in the big picture over time. We own the transaction. The house has zero control of how we structure that transaction. We had an amazing evening of gambling at Ocean. We played some Ultimate Texas Hold'em and then found a blackjack table to enjoy. And it was so very cool to know each other so well that we could look at the stacks of chips on the table. We could look at each other's abacus and know exactly how each other was doing, where each person was in their process. Dr. ECE had a nice win with his rapier construct, getting in some calls of black in action to boost his perceived average wager. I won consistently without needing to change unit sizes, and Mrs. TRG managed to stay even. We controlled the transaction. When it was time to leave, it was time to leave. We got in the cab, completely full from a great meal. An East Coast emissary poured me a large cup of Johnny Walker to take with me. And as we got in the cab, it honestly didn't really register, and none of us had given it a second thought. We just assumed it was Atlantic City. I could ignore the open container laws. It wouldn't be a big deal, and it wasn't. The cab driver even reinforced that by saying, I don't care if you bring your drink, please just don't spill it. And no worries, I didn't. It was fine. We went back and I enjoyed that in the room as we wrapped up things for the evening. And a big snowstorm was expected to hit the region in the afternoon of the following day, so most of the squad left early to beat the snow on their drive home. Mrs. TRG and I had more free bets to use. We played craps and lost a little money. We played blackjack and won most of it back. We played some video poker to enjoy some cocktails, but I gotta tell you, El Dorado just continues to get cheaper and cheaper to just tighten the screws and tighten the screws. Full honesty, full transparency, I don't mind playing a little video poker with a chance to catch a royal while enjoying a couple drinks. And as long as I lose less than the drinks would have cost, I feel like it's a fair deal. I feel like it's a transaction I don't mind at all. But in this bar, they are using you have to play enough to turn on a light on the back of the machine to get a second drink system. And it seems to be really tight to me. When we asked the bartender if we could have another drink, he said we hadn't played enough. And I said, did I hear you right? We've been playing for 20 or 30 minutes, both of us. I've already added more money to the machine once. We've been having a nice time, but we've already lost more than the first round of drinks would have cost. And he said, well, if you want another round, you will need to play faster or play more than $1.25 a hand. And we said thank you, and we left. We control the transaction. We had plenty to drink in our room. If we were going to buy drinks, the lobby bar was much nicer and had a much more interesting cocktail selection. The house controls the math. They do. They controlled it in such a way that we decided not to gamble. And in this case, we decided not to spend money. We went to our comped room for the second drink and watched someone try to beat Bobby Flay. Then we went down and had a Bobby Flay burger for dinner. After dinner, we applied casino wisdom number 33. We wanted the win more than we wanted the action of playing. Another example of how we can own the transaction. We counted the money and decided one more buy-in for each of us, one negative exit for either of us, and we were done. We found a blackjack table and played several shoes. The winning had been really easy for Mrs. TRG the first night, but she couldn't find a way to win on our final night. She hit a negative exit point. I had enough of a win to cover it and give us a profit of a couple of units for that final attempt, and we called it a night. We won more than enough on the trip to cover our expenses for the weekend, plus a day's pay. We received almost a week's pay in comps and gifts from the casino. We had 2 amazing dinners with friends that we truly cherish. It was honestly one of the best birthdays I've ever had. A true example of living a casino-enhanced lifestyle, and multiple illustrations of both the house owning the math and the squad owning the transactions. Okay, let's head to the virtual VIP lounge. I could honestly use a sip, and while I don't have stories in the truest sense, I do have a quick anecdote from a recent trip to the horse track that I want to share as a final example of today's topic.
A little bit of the bubbly.
Welcome to the most must-listen-to segment in casino lifestyle podcasting, the Virtual VIP Lounge. Our lounge is open, and we have the best virtual everything virtually all the time. The best virtual food and drink served anywhere on the interwebs, guaranteed, or your money back. As always, if you can, press pause, pour yourself a drink. Join me if you can in having an adult beverage. I have some of Nakatomi Tony's excellent bourbon that he gifted me here in front of me today. I am looking forward to enjoying a few sips. And while this is not a full-blown story, what I'm about to share with you is the type of thing I would share, probably as a complaint, sitting around my local VIP lounge if we still had one at my local casino. And it's a perfect illustration of what we've been discussing in this episode. We went to a play with 3 of our grandchildren and several other members of the family this past Sunday. As the play finished, I told Mrs. TRG that we were going to stop at the horse track on the way home. The promotions for February had changed from the normal pattern. I usually have free slot play on Saturday or Sunday, my choice, but not enough to justify a trip for no other reason. It's not worth the drive for the amount of free play that I would normally receive. And we knew Mrs. TRG did not have any free slot play available on this particular Sunday. But knew this month, and this was the first day of the month, this location was giving out grocery store gift cards on Sunday in addition to the ones they give out normally on Wednesday. I always get my Wednesday gift cards and my free play because my consulting schedule takes me right past the exit for this particular property. Since the horse track was only a short distance out of our way going home from the play, I wanted to see how much my gift card was for. I wanted to know if it was worth making a special trip the rest of the month on Sunday for the amount of the gift card. So we got my free slot play and won enough with it to buy a tank of gas. That's always convenient. When I make trips like this, I like to win enough to more than pay for the gas involved as the very minimum. So mission accomplished in that regard. My gift card for the grocery store was for $5, so not worth a special trip on the remaining Sundays of the month. That's what I wanted to know. That's what made it worth going, to see how this change in behavior by the casino might make things make sense or not make sense. And Mrs. TRG checked the kiosk and it said she would receive a gift card if she earned 1,000 tier credits. This property gives 1 tier point or 1 tier credit, however you want to say that, for each dollar wagered in a slot machine, and slots are the only option available. Now, how stupid would you have to be to put $1,000 at risk for a $5 gift card? Clearly, she won't be going back for that item either. And as we talked through things, I realized this is an excellent example of casino wisdom number 100. The house does control the math. The house decided that their math says Mrs. TRG does not get free slot play on Sunday. They decided she needs to risk $1,000 for a $5 gift card. They decided the gift card they should offer me was $5. They control that math. We control the transaction. We will not be showing up on Sundays. We will not be putting any capital at risk. We will not be tipping anyone for anything. This is an appearance fee that is too small. Thanks, but no thanks. As we drove home, I remarked, they're really pretty stupid. And I'll use the real numbers here. I don't normally use real numbers, but I will use real numbers here. Next week is the Super Bowl. But despite that, if we each had $25 in free slot play, and we each had a $25 gift card, they have a very nice high-end restaurant there that does a great Sunday brunch. We would have driven out. We would have had brunch using free tax-free imaginary money. We would have bought the mimosas since they can't be comped according to our state law. we'd have tipped the server on the entire bill. We'd have played our free slot play, probably played another machine or two using TRG slot strategy El Numero Dos and put money at risk and gotten our free gift cards and been very happy to have come and done that, and we'd have enjoyed it. They controlled the math in such a way that they get no transaction from us, because while they control the math, we control the transaction. Please, tip your waitresses, tip your bartenders, tip your dealers. If you have a host, tip your host, but don't tip away your wins. I've spoken. Everything you heard here is true from a certain point of view. In 10 years, we may find out I was wrong about all of this. It's time for leaving, and I hope you understand I was born a rambling man. Love it, hate it, it don't matter. Please share with your family and friends. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for listening. Thank you for the gift of your time. Stick around for the best part of the podcast. The Casino Combat Blues is next.
For Atlantic City Empress, Casino Combat's ace. There are profits in the casino tonight, I can feel it in my bones. I had a premonition, you should probably play alone. I know the house has an advantage, but that's part of the thrill. If we follow the core concepts, the chips begin to spill. So baby, here's your player's card, put your bankroll in your hand. Use just some of that money now, do it just the way we planned. Just follow the core concepts and you could win several grand. Well, it's good if it goes down like that, don't have to play to lose. It's gambling as a business, the Casino Combat Blues. Casino Combat Blues. The dealers and the pit bosses, the security and the law, the winning and the losing and the tricks nobody saw. No matter if it's blackjack, roulette or craps, you gotta carry defense cause you always carry cash. There's lots of shady characters, lots of dirty deals. Everybody has an alias cause that's more fun we feel. It's the lure of winning money, it's got a very strong appeal. Perhaps you'd understand it better standing in my shoes. It's the ultimate enticement, it's the Casino Combat Blues. Casino Combat Blues. Whoa. You don't see it in the headlines, you don't hear it every day. No one's trying to stop us and we don't need to go away. We can gamble in Atlantic City, we can gamble in LA, we can gamble